This is a trigger warning for anyone listening. It's supposed to be a tough conversation and it may get a little deep. So if you feel at all uncomfortable, or if you have kids around you right now, make them go away. I would. So trigger warning, PSA, whatever you want to call it.
First, he wouldn't, I mean, it's not like somebody comes into this relationship
Yeah.
smacking you, beating you. They are very strategic and methodical when they are going to have you for a long time to torment and abuse you.
Yeah.
And they have this way of making you feel like you are loved and
Yeah.
I am going to take care of you and you don't have to worry about all of the things that happen to you. And he tried to, and he did. It's not that he tried to. He did make me feel safe. I felt like
Yeah.
I could depend on him. And at the age of 15, he was 19. He was working at a factory and we got a 1-bedroom house and we moved out together. And we lived there for about a year before he started hitting me and controlling me and telling me things that I could or could not do and spanking my son, which at the time I didn't realize was abusive. Now I can, but when you're in that situation, you really don't recognize right from wrong. You just kind of feel that this is the way it is. This is how life is. And I remember him locking me outside one day when I went somewhere with my friends and it began to rain and I was so scared to knock hard on the door. I was just hoping the door would be unlocked so I can come inside. But I was so frightened that I was going to get hit or yelled at or I don't know what, that I slept outside on the backside of the door with kind of like my hand on the door trying to open it. And it was like 2 little steps on the back door in the rain. And I just leaned up against the door and I just slept there. So that way he knew that I was not home, but I was not doing anything bad because I felt like I had to prove to him and show him like I slept in the rain so you wouldn't get mad at me or I didn't want to wake you. Mm-hmm. It really became, I got to get out of here with the birth of my 4th son. I remember sitting down, holding him in the rocking chair and my 1-year-old next to me. And I just kept thinking to myself, I can't do this anymore because he's going to destroy and beat all of these 4 boys and he's going to destroy their lives. There's just no way. I don't know what type of men they're going to grow up being, watching me in this situation, what I'm allowing. And it really started, I believe at that time, my mind frame started changing to more accountability of the effects that I was having. I think because I was 14 with my first and 16 with my second, it wasn't really registering as an adult because I was still a child. So it was kind of like, this is kind of what happens, or at least I'm not in the street, or where else would you be? Type of mentality. It was really just my mind changing. I remember I was I was 7 months pregnant with my 4th son, and I had started labor, and they checked me and I was dilated about 3 centimeters.
Wow.
And obviously that is very dangerous. And so they said, you know what, Vanessa, you have to they admitted me immediately and they put me on bed rest and they started giving me magnesium to slow everything down and stop labor. Well, he had the 3 kids at home and he came to the hospital the next day and he said, you cannot stay here. You can't stay at the hospital. And I told him, well, I don't know what to do. The doctor said that I have to be bed rest and they're giving me magnesium because I'm in labor and I have contractions starting. He said, well, we have crap to do at the house and I got to go to work and I don't know who the hell is going to watch these kids, but you need to get home and you need to watch these kids. And I said, well, what do you want me to do? He says, well, we don't have time for you to be in the hospital. You can be in bed rest at home. And he detached all of these stuff on me at the hospital. And I said, well, the doctor has to discharge me. He says, the doctor doesn't have to do anything. I say what goes. And so he took out my IV. I got dressed without the doctor's approval, consent, or anything. And he said, come on, we're going. And I went home. And I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't care.
Oh,
He does not care. So I just, having that realization, I just kept thinking, how am I going to get out of here? And I knew that it wasn't going to be easy because one, I had already looked into welfare. So welfare wasn't going to pay much. Where am I going to live? Section 8, like housing. I was looking at that as a resource of where I could actually move safely. The wait list was like 2 years in California at the time.
yeah.
What am I going to do? So I just thought, you know what, Vanessa, you just need to get a job. You need to save money. And then I started thinking, well, what kind of job could you possibly get that's going to be able to afford you and 4 kids?
Yeah.
But it took me 2 years after mentally I told myself I'm done. And I told him, hey, you know what, let's move to Laredo with your family. You can work there and we'll just build a life there in Texas.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And he was on probation at the time too. So he says, well, I'm not going to tell my probation officer because he won't let me leave. So we ended up just skipping town, not reporting.
Wow.
He never got in trouble for that to this day. And we came here and I got a job and I started working, and it took me 2 years, and I built myself up within that company because I knew I saw a way out there by moving along climbing up the ladder there, that there was opportunity and income for me to make to leave. But it definitely was not easy. And I was the biggest actress pretender in the world during that time. Nothing more harder, knowing that you don't want to be there and having to pretend every day, not knowing when he came home from work if he was going to be in a good or bad mood, and then abuse me and our 4 kids. I'm sure they all probably thought as they were going through it, or they saw me going through that and wanting to help me, why was I staying and how dumb was I, or how could she be so stupid? Mm-hmm. Not realizing what it felt like inside of me and how hard it was and how much fear was inside of me. It's easy on the outside to say you should do X, Y, and Z, but actually having to do that after years and years of abuse, it's just not that easy. Yeah. But I just want them to know that, most importantly, I appreciated all of their help. And I look back and I just think, wow, they really went above and beyond for me, and I can never pay them back. And a lot of times you get frustrated trying to help somebody because they're just not listening, and their complaint is the same through a decade. And you're like, okay, I'm done. I can't deal with this no more. But it's just not being pushy. Like, hey, I know you're going through a lot. I know it's really hard for you. I can't be personally involved in your life every day because it's too much for me. Yeah. But when you need me, I'm here, and I'll always try to help you with whatever I can. Just reach out to me. But it's none of their faults. There's nothing not one of them could have done that would have made me leave that situation where I was at then. It was really going to take me to be tired of me in order for me to make that change. Yeah.